Ryan Blaney got his lap
Whoa,
wrong.
Blaney's out of gas. Something's wrong.
White flag, 1 lap to go. And he is going to the playoffs. Austin Cindric wins in St. Louis.
What in the world just happened? Austin Cindric won at Gateway. Austin Cindric got Team Penske's first win of 2024. Austin Cindric snapped Team Penske's win streak that goes back to last year. And the way it happened was just unbelievable in a sense. There were differing strategies all day. All right, let's talk about how this happened. Different strategies all day long, right side tires, 4 tires, staying out, different strategies of when to pit. And Group A, which is Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, the Ford camp for the most part, and a few other guys, they pit with about 65 laps to go. They get 4 fresh tires, they fill up on fuel, but they need 2 cans of fuel. 2 cans of fuel, whereas Group B, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and others, they pit with about 30 to go, and they take 4 tires, or some I think took 2 tires if they pitted really late. And they only needed 1 can of fuel to make it to the end, so they got a little bit of a quicker pit stop, and they were able to close in on that first group at the end, whereas that first group was closing in that middle stint. Well, Christopher Bell, who was the fastest car all day, led, I want to say, 80, 90 plus laps today, swept the stages, another great performance following last week's win at the Coca-Cola 600, and he is closing in on Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney had already pitted. As I said, he was a part of that Group A strategy. He's out front, and he's looking for his first one of the year, but there's still 6, 7, 8 guys who have not pitted yet. Well, Christopher Bell is closing in. He comes out of the pits, and he's about 8 seconds back. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. By the time that Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell are in second and third, it's less than 2 seconds. And then by the time the last car, Kyle Larson, had pitted, it's between Blaney and Bell, about 20 laps to go. And they're having a great battle, by the way. Side by side, Blaney going up high, Bell trying to go to the bottom, trying to clear him, and then Blaney just rocket shipping around the outside. It was a great battle, it truly was. We even saw some crossovers. We saw Blaney had to pull a slide drop at one point. If Bell got clear and got ahead and stayed ahead, Blaney wasn't going to catch up to him because of that tire difference, and Bell had the best car all day. Well, then suddenly, after Blaney clears him one of the times, Christopher Bell just falls off a cliff, and it's like, oh, maybe he had a bad corner, maybe he scraped the wall, but, all of a sudden he's a second behind, 2.5 seconds, and everyone's like, he'll just reel him in. Cut to the radio transmission.
I'm blowing up. Game over.
I'm blowing up. Game over. Where did that come from? The car that has dominated this race, swept the stages, led the most laps, looked like it was in great position to win if it could get past Ryan Blaney. All of a sudden, it's blowing up. The engine's done. Car done. Well, actually, car wasn't done. He ended up still finishing in the top 10, but contention for the win is over for the 20 team. So then Ryan Blaney set sail, baby. You're 3 seconds ahead of the field, 3 seconds ahead of Austin Cindric. What could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong, right? Right? Wrong. So wrong. So the last few laps, everything's going chill, no cautions, nothing freaky, nothing crazy. Blaney's got a 2-second lead, and, Cindric's closing in a little bit, but, those last 3 laps, the leader, when he's got a big lead, being conservative, making sure he doesn't scrape the wall, go too high, lose the car, something like that. So, it's down to a second, and it's like, maybe he caught lap traffic at the wrong time. He's fine. Coming to the white flag, all of a sudden, Austin Cindric's within half a second. On the front stretch, feet from the white flag, all of a sudden, Austin Cindric's in the lead. Austin Cindric won the race. Mind blown. Genuinely mind blown. I expected, Austin Cindric, he had a great qualifying session, great practice. Team Penske Ford showed speed here. I thought Austin Cindric would run in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. I did not have him winning this race, but he did just that. Austin Cindric won at Gateway, St. Louis, Wide Technology Raceway, whatever we call this place now, in the most shocking fashion. He went from third to first in those last 20 laps in about the most chaotic way possible, without the leaders wrecking each other. Bell's engine dies, Blaney runs out of gas, and there was no expectation that Blaney was going to run out of gas. Everyone thought they were good to the end, but somehow, some way, Blaney ran out of gas. I mean, what a shocker at Gateway, Worldwide Technology, St. Louis, whatever we call it. This burst the playoff bubble. The playoff bubble, which we have to talk about. We saw Daniel Suarez win early in the season, and we knew that that would throw a wrench in the playoffs a little bit. You know, Suarez and Cindric, they're essentially in the same situation where they're in good equipment, yes, but the history shows they'll run from 17th to 21st in the points this year. So most likely they will need a win. Well, Suarez got that win early in the season, essentially, you know, taking a spot away from someone in the points. And now we have Cindric doing the same thing here at Gateway. Cindric entering this race was 85 points below the cutoff line. It was getting close to that time of year where Cindric was going to have to take some gambles and go for a win at some point. A win's the only way you're getting in if you're 85 points or below, because it's going to take a lot to make up those points. And that's going to bump someone out. And there were some playoff bubble drivers today. I know we're only 13, 14 races into the year, but playoff bubble drivers who had struggles today, and we have some big names out right now. Kyle Busch, he could not afford a bad day. If he doesn't win, he cannot afford bad days. He had a bad day today. He crashed out. So Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, who had a great day, had a great points day. All of a sudden, Joey Logano, that points day doesn't mean anything because a guy behind him in points won a race. So right now, I think the way things stand, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and technically Kyle Larson are out of the playoffs. The Larson thing is so annoying. I think he'll get his waiver, but let's be realistic here. Busch and Logano are out right now. That is mind-blowing to think about. Obviously, we have a lot of time for that to change, but Austin Cindric wins at Gateway. A day full of strategy, a day full of great racing, honestly. I thoroughly enjoyed this race. You could pass, you could make your way up through the field. Sure, the tire wear wasn't as intense as we would want it to be, but it did make for altering strategies, different guys up front. But we saw the best car, Christopher Bell, come up through the field multiple times. We saw Ryan Blaney come up through the field. So let's look at your results here, because these results, guys, are freaky to the max, okay? You would think this is a super speedway finishing results. Austin Cindric, your winner. He snaps a long winless streak. That is the third winless streak, fourth winless streak that we've seen snap this year. Daniel Suarez snapped a 1.5 year long winless streak at Atlanta. Chase Elliott snapped a 1.5 year, 2-year winless streak at Texas. Brad Keselowski snapped a 3-year winless streak at Darlington. And now today, Austin Cindric snaps over a 2-year winless streak here at Gateway. And what a way to do it. Once again, who would have guessed? Who would have thought that Austin Cindric would win at Gateway? And who would have thought that he would do it in that fashion? Now, here's the thing. People are going to say, oh, this was a fluke win. Oh, he didn't deserve it. And yeah, you could argue, Blaney running out of gas, Bell blowing his engine, he wouldn't have gotten the win. But that's how things work in racing. Cars break down. People run out of gas. Austin Cindric was in the right place at the right time, but he was there all day. He was top 5 all day. He led laps in this race. I think he scored 56 points on the day. He scored stage points all day long. He was a deserving winner, honestly. Yeah, Bell and Blaney were better, but Austin Cindric was arguably the third best guy all day in terms of speed. And as I said, he put himself in position. They put themselves in position. And Austin Cindric's your winner. He's in the NASCAR playoffs. So a crazy ending here at Gateway. Austin Cindric is your winner. The second time he has won in the Cup Series. The second time he will be going to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Denny Hamlin, after all of this, finishes second. I think he retains the regular season points lead. Top 5 most of the day. The altering strategy shuffled things up, but when things were normal, he was top 5, and he ends up making a couple of positions there at the end. Finishes in second. Brad Keselowski, another top 5 finish for him. He has been top 5 the crap out of it these last 6 or 7 races. I think he has 5 out of the last 7. Obviously, the win at Darlington, second at the Coke 600, second at Texas, second at Talladega, third today. Brad Keselowski is arguably the hottest driver in NASCAR right now with all these top 5s, with leading laps, being up front. That team is killing it right now. They're hot at a good time. Not the best time. Later in the season will be better, but they are hot after a slow start to the season. 4th place, Tyler Reddick. Good run for him. 5th place, Joey Logano. All three Penske cars would have finished top 10, but Blaney ran out of gas. A great day for Logano. As I said, a great points day for him. But ultimately with Cindric, his teammate, winning, which I'm sure he's happy for the company, happy for the organization, that hurts Joey Logano's playoff chances. He was already below the cut line, and now a guy behind you in points just won, and, well, yeah, not good. 6th place, Austin Dillon. RCR had high hopes coming into Gateway today. They won this race last year with Kyle Busch. They've run well at this style of track, and they were both in the top 10 for the majority of the day. Kyle Busch led some laps in this race, and Austin Dillon ends up 6th. It's a great run for him, a desperately needed good run for him. They've struggled this year. They've had a really bad year. They've been sitting outside of the top 30 in points, which for RCR is horrific. And to finally get something to go their way, to finish 6th, that's a good day. Both of the Austins. Austin Cindric only had one top 10 coming into this race. Austin Dillon was sitting in the 30s in points. Both of them have outstanding days, and now they can hopefully build on that momentum. Christopher Bell. Him and Ryan Blaney are going to mark this one down as a heartbreaking loss. Christopher Bell had the best car all day. As I said, he led 80 laps on the day. He swept the stages. But man, to be battling for the win, to have the best car and just simply need to clear the guy, and you've got 18 or so laps to do it, and then the engine decides to start dying out. Heartbreaking loss for him. Martin Truex Jr. helped him there at the end. Martin Truex Jr. multiple laps down. We'll talk about him later. Just shoving him down the straightaways to try to help him gain some positions or at least maintain some positions. But Christopher Bell, this could have been a winning day. He got a couple playoff points out of it, and a 7th place finish is really good for their regular season standings, trying to get back into the top 10 in the standings, but heartbreaking loss. And here is where the top 10 gets funky, ladies and gentlemen. Carson Hocevar, 8th. Who would have thought? Actually, I had him in my pre-race predictions as 10th place, so I would have thought. I had to brag about that. I'm somewhat proud of myself. But great race from Hocevar. Was top 10 the majority of that last 10 of the race. Was in contention for a top 10 if he wasn't. He made his Cup Series debut at this track last year in the number 7 car in Spire, and he's showing why Spire made the right hire. That rhymed. I didn't even intend it. But Carson Hocevar finishes 8th in this race. A great day for him, truly. Great to see him finishing up in the top 10. Great day for him. 9th place, Justin Haley. We have talked about how much Rick Ware has improved this year, and Justin Haley gets another top 10 at a non-super speedway. He did it at Darlington a few weeks ago. He does it here at Gateway. That team's improving. Justin Haley, who we all clowned for making that move from Colleague to Rick Ware Racing, he's making it look like a good move. That team is on the up. Justin Haley's had some great performances, and once again today, he shows why. What a run. What a great run for that team. Justin Haley in 9th. 10th place, Kyle Larson. This is an interesting one because I want to save the rant about the playoff waiver for a separate video, but Kyle Larson, as of right now, is not in the playoffs. NASCAR has not granted him the waiver. They usually do it the day after. When Chase Elliott broke his leg, they granted him the waiver the day after. When Chase Elliott got suspended, they granted him the waiver the day after. When Eric Jones got hurt, day after. Alex Bowman, day after. NASCAR historically has given these waivers the day after it gets requested. I don't know what day Hendrick requested the waiver, but they have confirmed, or someone has confirmed, that they have placed the waiver, they've requested the waiver, and NASCAR has not done anything. It's been a week since Charlotte. I don't know, maybe it's just a gut feeling, but the longer we wait, the worse I feel, and it's going to end up being a historic rant for me if they ban Larson from the playoffs. The system is stupid anyways. There should be no need for a waiver, but that's a rant for next week. Ty Gibbs finishes 11th, solid day for him. 12th place, Ross Chastain. 13th, Chase Elliott. 14th, Chris Buescher. 15th, William Byron. 16th, Todd Gilliland. Led a few laps in this race. 17th, Chase Briscoe. 18th, Daniel Hemrick. 19th, Zane Smith. 20th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 21st, Bubba Wallace. Noah Gragson 22nd, Daniel Suarez 23rd, 24th, Ryan Blaney. Just like with Bell, heartbreaking loss. Led 20 laps in this race, was top 5 for a good chunk of this race, was in position to win it, did nothing wrong there at the end, ran out of gas. I don't know how they miscalculated that. I don't know if there was a further issue, if they didn't get gas in the car, but what just happened? I mean, genuinely. That's a loss you can't take right there. It's been a long time since Penske's won, and thankfully your teammate picked up the scraps there at the end. But Ryan Blaney, he's the defending champion, and they haven't had a horrible year this year, but in terms of winning and winning speed, you could argue that. But they were top 10 in points entering this race. And with the more winners we get, we're still a long way from talking about Ryan Blaney missing the playoffs, and we shouldn't really have that conversation. But they're going to win this year for sure, I think. But talk about heartbreak. Talk about the worst possible way to lose a race. You think you have it in the bag, and then coming to the white, you run out of gas. 25th, Michael McDowell was on pole, led 40 laps in the race. Got some stage points, ends up 25th. 26th, Eric Jones, Nemechek 27th, Alex Bowman 28th. He had tweeted that his brakes went out, and that is why they fell back there at the end. I was wondering that in the late stages. Turns out they were having brake issues. 29th, Ryan Preece 30th, Derek Kraus 31st, Harrison Burton 32nd, Corey LaJoie 33rd, Cody Ware. Welcome back, Cody Ware. He caused 2 cautions in the first 20 laps. Cool. Martin Truex Jr. 34th, had a tire go down during a green flag pit stop cycle, and he had to come back down pit road, fix the car, get it back on the jack. They went multiple laps down, and that just ruined their day. 35th, Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch is on a 19-year winning streak where he has won a single race at the very least for 19 straight years. And in the current era of NASCAR, that gets you into the playoffs, as long as it's not those last 10 races, of course. Well, Kyle Busch, he is essentially a lock every year for the playoffs, but this year it is not as certain. RCR has struggled. They have not shown winning speed really anywhere. Busch has 2 top 5s on the year, I think, at Kansas and Atlanta. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they were flirting with the playoff cutoff line today. I think they were plus 18 or so on the line. After Austin Cindric's win, and with Kyle Busch not collecting any stage points today, maybe 1 stage point, and finishing second to last, they're out. I'm pretty sure they're out. So they've got to get it together. They cannot afford things like this. Him and Kyle Larson had an incident where they kind of started hitting each other, and Larson went underneath Busch. Busch pinched him, and they both wrecked each other. That's how I view it. I think they wrecked each other. And they can't afford that. They cannot afford an awful run like this. They might be in a situation where they have to point their way into the playoffs, and if they come 3 points short, look right here. Look at this race. They cannot afford these runs. They just can't, straight up. 36, Josh Berry blew a tire. That ends his streak of 3 or 4 races, I think, consecutive top 15s. Definitely unfortunate for him. But what a freaking ending at Gateway, St. Louis Wide Technology Raceway. Can we just pick one name, please? NASCAR promotes it as St. Louis. Everyone calls it Gateway. The track promotes itself as Worldwide Technology Raceway. Can we just pick one name? Oh, my goodness. There's no reason to get upset over that. But what a finish. Austin Cindric is your winner. He is in the playoffs, and the playoff bubble has been bursted, and it's only June 2nd. So, yay, I can't wait to talk about that. But that does mean we'll get a Why Austin Cindric will win the championship video in August. So, thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We do these race recaps every week. We got Sonoma next week. Road course racing across the board should be a fun one. Thanks again for watching. Any news, I'll keep you guys updated this week, whether it's the Larson waiver, silly season, or anything else. But thanks again for watching.